negative impacts that they've experienced.
The subject digital transformation, we keep talking about it, but very many people fail to understand that.
Twitter's removal of blue ticks is forcing accounts to find new ways to prove authenticity as concerns over copycats mount. At the same time, Elon Musk has given blue ticks to a few celebrities who didn't ask for one, such as writer Stephen King and Larry Madowo, for free.
Take on Tech every Monday at 10:30 p.m. on KBC Channel 1. Stay tuned.
Ile siku Ole Matope anaweza kufunga pingu za maisha.
Mama Kayai. Mama Kayai, tusinikumbuse huyo Nyasukuta kwa sababu alinitoroka akaenda.
Kwa kila kitengo ile mimi nilikuwa nasimamia, ikuwe ni groomsman.
Mimi napendanga mtu mwenye anaamua na anatulia hivyo, lakini mtu wako usurura nini sipendi.
Wakati siku na pressure ikapanda.
Hapana daktari uchuzo bwana.
Food nimetayarisha nikufurahia, nimefurahia.
Umetayarisha nini?
The first one pale ni tamu.
Hata damu kwa harusi, damu na chakula anapelekana waache sasa.
Time out, burn some kush.
새끼 이거 너 같이 하니 이 새끼들 다 어디 갔어? 이 새끼 안 열.
뭐해 빨리 체포해. 선생님 그쪽으로.
죄송합니다.
혹시 우리가 모르는 적이 나타난 건 아닐까요?
내가 알아보고 처리하죠.
하지 않으셨습니다. 아무리 기회를 줘도 회개하지 않는 악인들에겐 불변을 내리셨습니다.
예, 그렇지요. 소돔과 고모라는 유황불이 떨어졌고 완고했던 파라오는 자기 마다들을 잃었습니다.
Good afternoon. This is Lunchtime News. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Well, we have a comprehensive bulletin lined up. My name is Jackie Wambiru. Our sign language interpreter is Lucy Maura. Well, to kick us off, we shall be crossing over to the College of Insurance in Nairobi, where the Kenya Medical Services, or rather, the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority is holding its national annual brainstorming conference dubbed Transforming KEMSA for better access to health products and technologies. The event brings together suppliers and other stakeholders with the objective to tap on supplier and other stakeholders' input, strengthening supply chain systems to support KEMSA deliver its mandate, among others. Now let's cross over and listen in where Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumicha is currently speaking.
You want to respond to that?
I think, CS, like I mentioned in the presentation, that the issue of order fill rate, including this supplier conference that we're having today, will actually contribute to improving the order fill rate, because what are the issues that are making KEMSA not fill the orders as are required? Because there are some suppliers who have LPOs who have been unable to honor the supply of the commodities, and therefore when the counties come seeking for commodities, we don't have them. Having this conference will first help us to have a relationship with the suppliers so that they know that there is a new commitment from the organization to first process their payments in good time and we can give them letters of credit or payment plans to take to their bank so that they are able to get financing facilities to ensure that they support. The other issue that will improve the order fill rate, and we have already talked about it, is the issue of also debt collection from the counties to ensure that we get the capital, the money that we require to ensure continuous supply. The other issue specific, Waziri has already mentioned, that the issue of getting money from outside, and the chair has spoken to this, that the issue of innovative financial solutions, so that whenever we supply a country, we don't have to wait for them until they get, and we are working with Treasury, the ministry, we don't have to wait for them until they get their funds. We can have a facility that once we supply to the country, we are able to get money, and that alone can actually guarantee 90-97% order fill rate, where the cash flow issues are addressed. I think the board has been very supportive on this, Treasury and the ministry, and with that, and the resources that we are getting now, like the funds that Waziri has already talked about, the savings that she approved for us, we will only use it to buy the vital tracer items, which are the commonly used products, and even in our payment of our suppliers, we are prioritizing suppliers to supply these essential commodities. Once these essential commodities are available, the other slow-moving commodities.
Well, that is KEMSA CEO Andrew Muller addressing the press, whereby KEMSA is holding its national annual brainstorming conference dubbed Transforming KEMSA for Better Access to Health Products and Technologies. We shall be keeping you updated as we progress. For now, we cross over to Wetlands, where the African Union is commemorating the 20th anniversary of the Maputo Protocol on the rights of women in Africa. Now let's cross over where the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Aisha Jomo, is currently speaking.
And convene all of us today to take stock of the achievements made in the implementation of the protocol by member states, as well as the challenges and emerging women's concerns as we agree on the strategies for improvement. Indeed, you are a true Pan-African coalition. You have dedicated yourself to keeping the Maputo Protocol alive, and you have made it important, the most progressive treaty in the region, and that has greatly advanced the rights of women and girls in this great continent. Ladies and gentlemen, as we celebrate 20 years, we acknowledge the effort that the African Union Commission has made in persistently pursuing member states to sign and ratify the protocol. As we sit here today, 80% of which 44 out of 55 African countries has ratified the Maputo Protocol, symbolizing the willingness of African leaders to protect, to promote, and fulfill women's rights on the continent. Join me in applauding the 44th and youngest African member states, the Republic of South Sudan, who just deposited their instruments of ratification on 7th June 2023. We commit to collectively hold your hand as you take your baby steps until you are able to walk or even run ahead of some early risers to the process. Welcome to this journey. Allow me to also congratulate the 42 member states who started this journey much earlier, led by the 15 countries that showed the rest of us the way. We celebrate you. And echoing the voice of our beautiful young Chantel, we urge the remaining 11 African Union to consider ratifying the protocol. Ladies and gentlemen, In line with Article 26 of the protocol that requires member states to fully implement the protocol at the national level, including allocating budgetary resources and reporting on measures undertaken for the full realization of the rights to the Commission. I am aware that member states that have ratified have been submitting periodic reports to the Commission on the progress we are taking as a continent. I believe the progress Africa as a continent is making has greatly contributed to the modest improvement of 0.3 percentage points to global gender gap score, which now stands at 68.4%. Although the current rate of progress, it will take 131 years to achieve full gender parity. It is worth noting that sub-Saharan Africa has closed 68.2% of its gender gap, representing a 0.1% overall improvement, but progress in the region has been very uneven.
Well, that was the CS Public Service, Aisha Jumwa, lauding the AU on its efforts on ratifying the protocol. And at the same time, the event is dubbed the Bar on Policies and Partnerships for African People. We shall be keeping you updated in our subsequent bulletins. For now, we move on. The government, through the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, has embarked on an ambitious program of harnessing wetlands to cushion communities against the adverse effects of climate change. The program is also expected to boost adaptation and resilience to adverse climate across the country. Speaking during her visit to wetland areas in Marsabit County, Environment and Forestry Cabinet Secretary Soipan Tuye reiterated the government's commitment to restore wetlands across the nation, saying at least 8,000 wetlands have been earmarked for restoration. She cited the Kalacha irrigation scheme as a perfect model that is currently used as a pilot study.
The fight against climate change requires combat, serious combat. When you look at our security survey in the country, climate change comes second to terrorism as the biggest threat to our security in this country. Because with climate change, hakuna chakula, hakuna maji, na mizozo inaanza kuingia ndani ya communities.
We will ensure that we shake all this part of this country, entire republic, with the restoration, so that all our wetlands are secured, they are restored, there is water available, there is livelihood secured, climate change impact is mitigation is done, resilience and coping mechanisms is promoted.
The government is keen on curbing insecurity cases in Lamu County in order to attract more local and international investors. Principal Secretary, Department of Investment, Trade and Industry Hassan Abubakar notes that security challenges in the region have continued to negatively affect Lamu's economic growth. Abubakar at the same time called on residents to collaborate with security officers to address the challenge.
Rais amenipatia kazi ya kwenda kutafuta wawekezaji waje wawekeze katika Kenya na hapa Lamu County na Kenya kwa jumla. Wawekezaji hawezi kuja kama hakuna usalama. Kwa hivyo usalama ni kitu muhimu katika serikali hii na tutahakikisha kwamba umedumishwa.
Wana plan vile muliitisha camp, atujui kama itakuwa RDU, atujui kama itakuwa BBU, atujui kama itakuwa GSU, lakini hiyo kitu iko kwa plan. Najua sisi hatuwezi fungua kambi hapa bila plan kutoka Nairobi. So hiyo plan ya headquarters inapangwa huko headquarters, alafu ikiteremka inateremka mzuri.
In an effort to mitigate the effects of climate change, more than 20 conservation groups in Laikipia North have received over 67 million shillings to initiate conservation and livelihood improvement projects in the region. The projects initiated by Impact Kenya are meant to enhance resilience and support through transformational opportunities and resources for enabling communities to be self-sustainable.
Laikipia North was hard hit by the drought, and locals who depend on livestock lost almost everything and are struggling to bring back their livelihood and restore degraded land. According to Impact Kenya Program Officer John Tingoi, with the funds, the communities will be able to do projects that are self-sustaining.
Katika ile effort, community wao wenyewe wajishughulishe, wajifanyie kazi kama maneno ya maji, at least katika manyumba, household level. Wamama waanze to small kitchen gardens, waanze kufuga kuku, wengine wafanye maneno ya nyuki, wengine wafanye biashara yao, kuinua biashara. Kuna wengine bado wako kwa biashara, lakini tunasaidia ku scale up ndio waweze ku increase mapato.
He said the invasion of Opancha plant in the region, which has led to the loss of pasture, will also be addressed, where some of the groups will be involved in its eradication and planting of grass. Speaking during the issuance of the checks at Kiwanja Ndege in Doldol, Laikipia County, Water Chief Executive Committee member Leah Njeri said that the county government will continue offering technical support to residents who have experienced the worst climate change effects.
Kazi ni nyingi eneo hii, kazi ya maji, kwa sababu najua hapa ni mahali pia kuna ukame sana, na kwa hivyo tutashikana pamoja na hawa kuhakikisha kwamba wameweza hata kupata technical support kutoka kwa maengineers wetu. Manake pesa nimesikia wamepata pesa ya kufanya hata dams.
Kila project iko na activity, na ukiangalia activity ile iko itakuwa na faida mara mbili. Itakuwa na faida activity, ukipewa kazi ya kufanya hii activity definitely unalipwa, na hiyo project bado ukimaliza itakuwa na impact.
Residents are optimistic that the grants will drastically change their livelihood if put in good use.
Tunafurahia tukiwa mama, kwa sababu ni sisi ndio tuko na mzigo mingi ya kushota maji kwa mahali mbali. Tunaenda kung'ang'ana na mandofu, tukishota maji tunafukuswa, na hata wengine wetu wameumia na hata kupoteza maisha.
Tumepata idadi ya shilingi 4,450,000 ambayo tutatumia kwa kuweza kuondoa hii opuntia, na pia kuweza kupanda nyasi katika hii bare ground ambayo tunaondoa hii opuntia.
Beatrice Gatonyangetich, Lunchtime News.
And away from environmental matters, a section of Homa Bay residents is upbeat about the President's visit to the county this week for the homecoming ceremony for Interior and National Administration Principal Secretary Raymond Omolo, led by professionals from Karachuonyo constituency. They say the visit is expected to revive stalled development projects.
The purpose of the visit by His Excellency the President, William Samoei Arap Ruto, on the 15th of July is first to attend and grace the Thanksgiving ceremony for our PS, Dr. Raymond Omolo, the first son of Karachuonyo.
From this visit is the unveiling, first and foremost, of the various development projects. There are some of the projects that we've had for years, some of those projects that stalled, and with the revamping of those projects and by the unveiling of those projects by His Excellency the President, we are very sure that those projects will come to conclusion.
And more than just the projects that is going to launch. First of all, to appreciate the culture of the people. We are talking about tourism. How much is known to this one about the tourism opportunities in that area? These issues of employment may not come direct, but it can expose you to people, to individuals, to companies that realizes there's a potential they need to invest in Karachuonyo.
In other news, residents of Maragua and Moranga County, led by their Member of Parliament Mary Waithera, are proposing the establishment of a new water supply company. They say the company can supply water directly from Maragua Dam, which was constructed by the national government. They also want the canal sewage plant managed by the new company. Waithera says that the two mega projects funded by the taxpayers have been managed by the Moranga Water and Sewerage Company as a private company.
Not sit down to watch these water service provider companies
to continue failing to adhere and to comply by the law if they live in this country where our president and the current administration says that this is a country to be governed through the spirit of the constitution and the rule of law.
Ile kitu nataka kuwahindi, ile kitu nataka kuwashua watu wa Maragwa, sana sana watu wa Ngenda. Wenye zile kampuni zilikuwa kwa maji walikuwa nasema tuko na vita. Sasa hivi wamekataa kucomply. Sasa ndio vita imeanza. Na sasa wataona vyenye tutafanya maneno.
Sisi wa mama wa Maragwa tuko Kenya gani? Tukiwa hata wase wetu wameshatoroka, watoto wanaenda shule bila kunaa, tuwataka kusema tuwataka maji.
Still on the same, Irrigation Principal Secretary Paul Rono has lauded the government's plan to construct 100 mega water dams across the country, saying it will go a long way in alleviating the struggles faced by rural communities in accessing water.
Speaking in Kericho, Irrigation Principal Secretary Paul Rono said in the first phase, 33 dams will be constructed in collaboration with the private sector through a public-private partnership.
As we have heard, the government has put up a very comprehensive plan on water to build the mega dams, which are around 100 across the country. Currently, they are in the progress in terms of looking for investors and public-private partnership. And we floated 33 big dams across the country to start with. And then after that, we are also supposed to put up other medium dams around 1,000, which is also in progress.
Shedding light on the Maji Nyumbani water program, the PS said 1,000 medium-sized dams will also be constructed to benefit 6 million homes.
To put our program for small dams and boreholes and spring protection and water pans and sand dams to ensure that also as we wait for the big dams to be completed, there are still other small initiatives which have high impact in terms of the Mwananchi Kawaida, and these are the 3,000 small dams and water projects.
Kipkelion East Member of Parliament Joseph Cherurut said the 20 boreholes funded by the Constituency Development Fund have significantly reduced the agony rural women endured while trekking long distances to rivers to fetch water. John Kahiro for Lunchtime News.
And now on education matters, Nairobi County Regional Director of Education Margaret Lesuda has urged private schools to equip themselves adequately as per government regulations to avoid gaps in implementation of the competence-based curriculum. Speaking during her visit to City Rose Academy, Lesuda warned that stern action will be taken on private schools that do not comply with the government's directive on CBC, including closure of such institutions.
I want to assure you that every term we meet as a county education board to go through files and files of schools that are seeking registration. We have never registered, at least not during the last few years, any school that does not meet the standards that are required. We visit the site even before you build a school. But some of them go ahead and build a shanty, not even a school. We will close them, I assure you. And we have already some letters to close a few of them because the security, the safety of the child is also very paramount.
Reformed gang members in Nakuru County are set to benefit from a free reintegration program. Ruth Kenagwa, a Scout Commissioner, is the founder of the initiative, which seeks to equip participants with knowledge about urban farming and raising tree nurseries for sustainable income. The retired teacher expressed concern that a greater emphasis has been placed on the empowerment of the girl child to the disadvantage of boys. She spoke at Kariba Road Primary School grounds during a sensitization program for parents and youth from Bondeni, Free Area, Kaptembwa and Kivumbini informal settlement. Last month, police in Nakuru arrested over 300 suspected gang members, among them minors between 13 to 17 years.
Sasa hivi vijana hawa wanakuwa recruited kwa hivi vikundi wakiwa watoto wadogo, wengine wanakataa kufuata maadili ya wazazi, wengine kwa sababu ya kukosa karo, kwa sababu ya kukosa maisha mazuri, kwa sababu maisha imefanya wazazi wengine kutengana kutoka kwa familia, kuzambaratika kwa familia kumefanya vijana hawa, vikundi hivi vinaibuka.
Tunaingia tunaambia vijana umuhimu wa kutotumia dawa za kulevya, kwa sababu mtoto ambaye hatumii dawa ya kulevya anafikiria vizuri, anafanya kazi yake vizuri, utendakazi wake unakuwa utaratibu.
As a parent, if you get your children well, you tell them the direction, you give them good ways to follow, I think they will succeed.
And now on the corridors of justice, the High Court is expected to rule on the suspension of the newly signed Finance Act that is set to introduce new taxes. This is after Justice Mugure Thande extended interim orders halting the government from collecting taxes outlined in the Finance Act 2023 until she delivers a substantive ruling this afternoon. Now we cross over to Milimani Law Court, where our reporter Ruth Omboy will give us an updated report. Ruth, kindly bring us to speed.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline Wambiru, back at Broadcasting House. We are live here at Milimani Law Court, whereby we're expecting a ruling at 2:30 p.m. from Justice Mugure Thande. Remember, the Finance Act 2023 is supposed to be ruled today at 2:30 p.m. And you remember on Thursday when Lady Justice Mugure Thande said that she will not give her a substantial ruling because the matter was weighty and she needed to interact more with the Finance Act so that she can give today at 2:30 p.m. a substantial ruling. Remember, the petitioners went to court, and some of the three major prayers that they were praying to the court to give them on Thursday were about the contempt of court by the EPRA MD Daniel Kipto, but that was not granted by that day by Lady Justice Mugure Thande. And they also wanted an extension of the orders issued on 30th June on extending the Finance Act 2023. That was one of the orders that was granted by Lady Justice Mugure Thande. Out of the three prayers, only the extension of the orders issued on 30th June was granted. And another thing that they were also seeking to have the court have an ear on them was about a constitution of a bench to hear the Finance Act 2023. They want the president of the Supreme Court, Martha Koome, to constitute a bench to hear the Finance Act 2023. So among those three prayers that they presented to the court on Thursday, only the extension of the orders to have the Finance Act 2023 was granted. But now today we are all set to see what her ladyship Mugure Thande will talk about on the contempt of court by KEPRA MD, because even after the courts barred the implementation of the Finance Act 2023, EPRA went ahead and hiked the prices on fuel, and so that is going against the court. So we will want to hear this afternoon what the Justice Mugure Thande will talk about the contempt of court by EPRA MD, and also about the constitution of a bench. We'll also have to hear what maybe she has thought all over the weekend, and whether a bench, maybe a 3-judge bench or 5-judge bench, maybe whether it will be constituted to hear about this ruling. So those are some of the things that we are waiting to see this afternoon at 2:30 p.m. when the court will have its sitting here at Milimani Law Court. We are camping here. We don't know what time it's gonna take, because last Thursday the mention was at 10 a.m. and it split over from 10 a.m. taking 8 hours up to 5:30 p.m. is when Her Ladyship Justice Mugure Thande was giving her directions on this matter of the Finance Bill 2023. So today she's supposed to give her ruling on that bill from 2:30 p.m. So we don't know how long it's gonna take. We are just camping here to see what is going to unfold from there. Back to you, studio. We'll update our viewers in a subsequent bulletin.
Thank you so much, Ruth Omboy, for that update. Remember, the petition was filed by Busia Senator Okia Omtata. The High Court suspended the Finance Act 2023 on June 30th, a day after it was scheduled to come into force. The matter has elicited mixed reactions from members of the public. It now remains a case of wait and see. We shall be keeping you updated right here on KBC Channel 1. For now, we take a short break. Don't go too far. We have more news coming up.
What's that?
I brought you a small bonus.
Bonus for what?
You got us 299 family dinners, 64 kisses on the cheek, 12 road trips to see grandma, 42 jokes from daddy, 49 laughs from mommy.
In over 60 years of dealing with numbers, we've learned that the numbers that matter the most to you are the ones that matter the most to us. NCBA Bank. Go for it.
You just don't give up. This is not the end. I said it. My husband won't leave this house and no doctor's going to come here. You're wrong, Melina. You may be his wife, but we are his daughters. And of course we're taking him to a clinic.
What are you doing still standing there? You have got to be there beside Olegario.
Las Malditas.
Welcome back. This is Lunchtime News. Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki is currently presiding over the official operationalization of Igoji Sub-County in Meru County. The event taking place in Imenti South constituency will also see the installation of the first Deputy County Commissioner.
Najua it has been a struggle. Watu wa South Imenti wakitaka sub-county tatu, wakitaka ya Nkwene, wakitaka ya Bogeta, wakitaka ya Egoji. Na serikali ikasikiliza malalamiko ya wakaaji wa upande huu na wakatupatia sub-county upande huu.
Tulikuwa tunasumbuka sana kwenda Nkovo, na Nkovo ni mbali sana na gharama ndio iko juu. Sasa tumefurahi sana. Sasa tutakuwa tunateremka na miguu, tunaenda tunaona DC wetu na kila chizi zote tunahitaji, tutakuwa tunasaidika hapo.
Now let's talk business. Smallholder farmers in Nakuru County are set to receive training to reduce the use of harmful pesticides in the food value chain. The Ukulima True initiative is rolled out in partnership with the Center for Agriculture and Bioscience International.
The misuse of pesticides is causing loss of biodiversity, destroying beneficial insect populations, and reducing food safety, according to agricultural experts. In a bid to lower the risk of contaminating produce with dangerous pathogens, Nakuru County Government, in partnership with Center for Agriculture and Bioscience International (KBC), is equipping farmers with skills on good agricultural practices.
We want farmers to learn on how to use their pesticides, the agrochemicals, and reducing the usage of the agrochemicals. We also want them to learn on the effects of using too much of it.
Tunapata afueni wakati we have the biological products zenye zinasaidia kupigana na hawa wadudu. Kuna mitego ya FCM, the force codring mob in avocados.
Through the Ukulima True campaign, farmers will be trained on guidelines for producing safe food to streamline Kenya's food production systems and align them with the sanitary and phytosanitary standards.
Such this campaign will strengthen the already existing efforts by the county government to enhance awareness of food safety and shift behaviors of stakeholders aimed at reducing food safety risks during production, transportation, and distribution.
The program will also help farmers adapt integrated crop management and integrated pest and disease management practices that advocate for building diverse and resilient systems to drought, pests, and diseases.
Kuna dawa siwezi kumbuka ni gani tulikuwa tumeambiwa na serikali si mzuri, but una find inapenya tu na sisi tunazipata kama wakulima. Sasa sijui vile serikali inaweza fanya izuie hizo dawa either kwa boda ama kwa hizi agrovets zetu.
Other aspects of the initiative include crop diversification, rotation, and intercropping to take advantage of natural repellents and physical barriers for insect control. Frederick Moki for Lunchtime News.
France and Saudi Arabia have agreed to cooperate in the development of hydrogen and the production of electricity from low-emission and renewable resources. Details of these and more news from around the globe.
France and Saudi Arabia have placed hydrogen and electricity produced from low emissions and renewable resources at the core of their respective energy transition. Both countries have decided to join forces in the search for innovative solutions to produce hydrogen in the most effective and competitive way and to develop its use in the industry, mobility, power generation, buildings, and other relevant applications. Saudi Arabia aims to become the leading exporter of hydrogen and electricity produced from low emissions resources globally. The French strategy for development of decarbonized hydrogen aims at having a significant contribution to industry and transport. Elsewhere, China's economy teetered on the brink of deflation in June, adding to calls for Beijing to launch a stronger stimulus package to sustain the country's sputtering post-COVID recovery. The consumer price index was flat year-on-year and declined 0.2% compared to the previous month, while factory gate prices fell at the fastest pace since 2016 as demand for consumer and manufactured products softened. China is targeting a gross domestic product growth of 5% this year as the economy emerges from COVID-19 controls, but the recovery is proving fragile with property prices and exports falling. And finally, Japan's current account surplus more than doubled year-on-year in May in a fourth straight month of gains as the country's trade deficit narrowed and income gains from overseas investments expanded. The current account surplus reached 1.86 trillion yen in May, compared with 773 billion yen in the same month a year earlier. Over the past year, the current account data has highlighted the pain that high energy costs and a weak yen have inflicted on the world's third biggest economy, which relies heavily on imports of fuel and raw materials. Japan's position as an export powerhouse has also waned in the recent years, in part because companies have moved production overseas, making overseas investment a pillar of the country's earning power.
KEMSA's insurance firm Zep Re has settled